We are live. Grubby Talk Live Wednesday night. What's up, everybody? Let me pull the comments up. I'll watch as you guys go along. We're streaming on 3 different platforms tonight. One is my Fishing with the Gramps YouTube channel because obviously I like to share this kind of talk with my audience who are pretty new to kayak angling and things like that too. So again, using it as a recruiting tool for those of us who like to fish, bringing more folks in. Also streaming to the GRUBBY Facebook group, Grass Roots Bass Yakin, right here on Facebook, as well as the Kayak Bass Fishing Facebook page. Boy, we got a lot to cover tonight. 6 weeks worth of tournaments already. I can't believe, man, we're not even in May and we've got 6 weeks worth of tournaments to talk about. So if you're watching from Facebook tonight, let me give you a little thing. Where to go? Facebook. You can go to click on this StreamYard link if you would be so kind. And there's my phone that I need to mute. I am sorry. It's been a crazy day at work, and I literally just got done reviewing about 6 weeks worth of stuff to talk about tonight so we can cover all of the anglers and the tournaments that we've been going. But what if you're commenting on Facebook, just so I know who's chatting with me, visit StreamYard.com/Facebook, grant Facebook access. It won't hack your account and all that crap. I'm a cybersecurity guy. I've already checked through all that stuff, so it's good to go. Man, let's get started. I've got a couple of guys that are going to join us tonight to talk about some of the events that they fished. And one guy who might hop in at the very end, he's got some stuff going on, and hopefully will join us around 7:45 or so. So tonight, yeah, we're going to, oh man, we got a lot to talk about. But I also like bringing in anglers to talk about their events that they've done well at, and maybe share some insight. We've got a lot of new people joining GRUBBY this year. And, it's amazing the community that we've built here around the whole state. Now we've got people coming in the state from out of state because, hey, we put on a great set and bunch of tournaments too. It makes it really awesome. But that's one thing I love about the kayak fishing community is, man, we're just a bunch of folks who really love to fish. It's competitive, but not so competitive that experienced anglers, won't help new anglers. You see guys teaming up with their buddies, floating the rivers, hitting the lakes together, kind of helping each other out, guiding each other along too. I experienced that in my very first GRUBBY event a couple years ago when I showed up at Boggs and just, didn't really know a lot about it and had done a couple of little, state challenges and things like that. And then ran into Gary Dennis, who, helped me out a lot. I didn't even know that there was a 12-inch that there wasn't a 12-inch minimum because he kept seeing me throw fish back and not measuring. He's like, those count right. And I was like, I was playing by state challenge rules. But, that being said, let's go back and do like a recap because, we need to give credit where credit's due. There's a lot of people that, they're just laying the wood down and have been since the beginning of the season. And, we've had some tough conditions that are kind of crazy throughout the year. And, it's just been a wild start, but we've seen some struggles and we've seen some folks just put up some monster bags. Even, we're not even in May yet. I always laugh about May because that's when KBF Mayhem kicks off. And, that's when everybody's on that run to try to catch the biggest, the most fish when the fishing really starts heating up and gets going too. So, I'm just going to go back and do a quick recap through the first 6 weeks that we have. And if you're brand new to GRUBBY, let me tell you a little bit about us. We're the Grass Roots Bass Yakin. Most of us around, Indiana, but we have people come from surrounding states to fish our events. And what sets us a little bit different as a KBF club is our tournament format allows an angler to fish one of 5 days in our tournaments. So we have tournaments all over the state. No matter where you live, there's a GRUBBY event near you somewhere. But the great thing about where we do it, instead of you having to show up on a Saturday and fish, between the hours, there's a lot of us that have kids, grandkids, a lot of other events in life. You might work third shift, you might work weekends. GRUBBY is a great place for you. Why I say that is, say you're going to go fish a tournament, series at Bluegrass down in Evansville. Well, you can fish between Thursday And Monday, you pick the day of the week that works best for your schedule. You work weekends, you can fish a Monday, a Thursday, a Friday. It works out great. Everybody has a couple of days off somewhere in the week. So the great thing about Grubby is you pick the day that suits you the best. That's one of the things I really love about it. It truly is grassroots. And, we're a great feed club into KBF, a big supporter of KBF, as well as a lot of the other tournament trails. We have folks like me that are just kind of your weekend dudes who go out and fish what you can. Sure, we'd like to catch a bunch of fish and take home a check, but, I ain't going to. But I'm more about meeting all the cool new people out and doing floats and getting to know other people around the state. And that's what really makes it cool. It brings us a lot closer together, I think. So it makes it fun. So enough of that. Let's get a kickback. We're going to go through some recaps, and then we'll come back and we'll bring in a couple of guests to talk about their events in over the last few weeks. Week 1, man, the Grubby season kicked off with the big, what was it, Biz Baits Bluegrass Series, and we had Kentucky angler Chris Hogan showed up and put up a 5-fish limit with 73.5 inches. And that's, you're talking early in the season too. So it's kind of crazy imagining, somebody who's just popping in and, brand new to Grubby, and boom, starts out with his first tournament with the win. You got to love that. He was the only one to put up a 5-fish limit on bluegrass, which is funny because that's a lake that's a destination lake for a lot of people in Grubby because there's a lot of monster fish down there. But he actually took that win with 73.5 inches. Tyler Atwell took second with 65 inches. And he had a bluegrass giant of 20.25. Adam Cartwright rounded the top 3 with 57 inches. One of the new series, presented by Blues Baits, kicked off at Bischoff Reservoir, and Chad Cummings took home that victory with 68 inches and had big bass at 19.5. Antoine Hayes, you're going to hear his name a lot, took second with 73.75 inches, and Thomas, don't let me, I'm going to butcher your name, Ferinsky, finished third with 59 inches. And then we jumped into week 2, and that fired up with 3 different events. Bluegrass winner, our buddy from Kentucky, Chris Hogan, smacked the Bluegrass or Brush Creek series, which is presented by Backyard Custom Plastics, in the mouth with a 21-inch giant and took the win with 51.75 inches. And it was tough fishing conditions. The fish just didn't want to give up much. Tim Dempsey took second with 48.75, and Eric Lanahan finished with third. He fished third with 29.25. Just not a lot of fish caught, but talking about back-to-back victories right out the bat. Chris Hogan starts his Grubby career with 2 big wins right out the gate. Another new series, which is sponsored by Swordmouth Tackle, kicked off, and that's the Kokomo Reservoir. Cody Young landed the only 3 fish for the event at 43.5, took home that dub. Then we started the Rod Gloves Dogwood series, and Gary Webb took that win with 73.25 inches and had big bass in 19.5. As you might know, Dogwood took the place of West Boggs, and they seemed to like it and lit it up pretty good with a lot of fish. Kent Gross took second with 71.75, and then TJ Allward took third with 69.25. Then we jumped into week 3, and we had actually, a lot of people remember right now, we had that deadly tornado that come through Indiana. Had some folks in Sullivan that were at the campgrounds, and that was up at McCormick's Creek. But that ravaged some damage, throughout our state. Once things kind of settled down, the tournaments kind of kicked back off, and we had the Central Trail kickoff at since we Indiana or Grubby's added 2 trail events or trail series this year. You have the Northeastern Trail and the Central Trail. So this was the first event that took place at Morse Reservoir, and that was sponsored by Honey Creek Tackle. Turned out to be another difficult tournament. Mason McCollum was the only angler who managed the limit and actually won it with 62.75 inches. Wes Ward took second with 28.25, and Brian Duncan third with 24.25. Justin Long managed 1 fish, but it's the kind of fish that you're looking for with a whopping 21.75-inch largemouth. Week 3 found us back at Biz Baits Bluegrass Series, event number 2, where TJ Allward tied Tyler Atwell was 77 and a quarter inches, and TJ took the event because he had the biggest bass at 19 inches. Glenn Landstrom took third with 75 and a quarter, and Matt Kiefer had big bass with 21 inches. Oh man, week 4, spring finally showed up. We started getting some warmer weather and fish actually starting to be a lot more active. The first event at Summit Lake, which is presented by Getting Jiggy with It, Bait and Tackle, got everyone's attention when Josh Robbins landed a giant. You guys have seen the video, you know, it's a giant. 22 and a half inch largemouth. That's a tank for this early in the year. I'm hoping he's in that moving. No, actually, I don't. He's probably in the Moving Waters tournament as well. And that's a giant fish to start your year with. Not to be outdone, winner Michael Lake dropped a 5-fish limit ranging between 18 and 20 inches for a total of 95 inches to knock out Antoine Hayes. Knocked him down to second with his 91 inches, and then Joshua Robbins finished a quarter inch behind that in third. Talk about a tight race and a lot of good fishing up there at Summit Lake. On Sullivan, presented by American Legacy Fishing Company, Ryan Reading took first with 82 inches, followed by Brian Spark with 80, and Antoine, you're going to hear that name a lot, it took third, 61 and a quarter inches. Brian Sparks had big bass with a 21 and a quarter inch lunker. Woo, boy, we're just getting heated up. And man, we're not even into the hot time of the year yet, but we're catching some big fish early on. It's pretty amazing. Week 5 kicked off with a record-breaking White River event, which was my first of the year, presented by Ashigan Brand. Nick Matthews finished third with 81 and a quarter. Justin Cavett, the philosophical angler, who's going to join us here in a little bit, pulled off a load of river largemouth. Yeah, he found largemouth bass in the river totaling 85 and a half inches. I've caught some largies up there once in a while, but I don't fish up there very much. But the fact that he had a full bag of largemouth is pretty wild. Taking the top spot was none other than Smalley Talks co-host Chris Shreko, which I know I butchered his name, but he can tell me how to say it later on when he joins us, who had a bag of 87 and I guess I got to quit saying bag. That's an old tournament thing. Who had a 5-fish limit of 87 and a half inches with a 19-inch smallie. Big bass went to Josh Robbins, who had a 19 and 3/4 inch smallmouth bass. Bunch of good-looking fish looking back through the tournament results. Next up was the Northeast Trail's first stop at St. Clair. It's one of the few that they do out of state. But hey, you got a fishery that close, you got to hit it up at least once a year. Cole Garland put up an astounding 100.5 inches. The smallest of his limit measured 19 and 3/4, and the largest was 20 and 3/4, which was also good enough for the big bass of the events. Tyler Flesher was a 1/4 inch shy of the 100-inch mark to finish in second place, and in third place was Brian Sparks with 95 and a half inches. Moving back to Brush Creek for the second event, Corey Rucker landed a 5-fish limit, totaling 90 and a half inches. Austin Killian took second with 88 and a quarter, and Josh Hall took third with 82 inches. Scott Rowe had the big bass of the event at 20 and 3/4. Week 6, man, now we're catching up to where we're at now. Week 6 took us to the Duggar unit for the second Central Trail event, where Merlin Hammer took the win with 74 inches. Antoine Hayes, yep, there he is again, and Chris Wargle tied with 73 inches, but Antoine's 17 and 3/4 broke the tie for second place, bumping Chris down to third. Back up to Bischoff, Ryan Reedy took his second win of the season with 76 inches, followed by Chad Cummings in second and Rick McLean in third. Also going on was Kokomo, which was won by Matt Gibson, followed by Ryan Platt and Chad Howard. You'll notice I'm dropping the numbers because I ran out of time and we had to start the live. And last but not least was the second stop at Dogwood, where TJ Allward took first, Kent Gross took second, and Antoine in third. What a start to the season. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, how many big fish we're seeing caught, but still kind of few and far between. But as May gets here, I expect to see we're going to start seeing more limits caught, and the fights are going to get a lot harder because I mean it's people are going to be on them. Fish are going to be they're probably pre-spawn now. They're going to be loading up like firing like crazy, and then there's going to be a lot of people bed fishing. So it'll be interesting to see the tactics that everybody deploys around all the various lakes, rivers, and so forth as we start battling this stuff out. Now, that's our recap. Congrats to everybody. Love seeing all the new anglers out there. Me, I don't catch limits. I just, watch and drool over what everybody else does. But I tell you what, had a blast for my first ever White River event. Caught my PB Smalley up there, which was, 18 and a half. And that was one of my goals for the year. So for me, season's already successful. But we've seen a lot of big fish caught. And it's just we're off to another great season too. I really can't wait. And again, the KBF state challenges are going on. Make sure you're paying attention to that if you're trying to, qualify for the KBF state challenge championship in October down at Gunnersville. Mayhem is one of those special qualifier months. So make sure you get in there and get involved. It's like the top half of the field goes. If you're trying to win the actual qualify to get enough points to win the actual championship, make sure that you're working, get your 4 months worth of tournaments in to accumulate as many points as you can, so that when you go to the championship, that points and a half, you're putting yourself in a position to be competitive. All right, let's bring in our first guest of the night, and he's only won a couple of events right out the gates. So, what is up, good sir? Thanks for joining us tonight. So, what do you think of GRUBBY so far?
Oh, well, I love it. I'll be honest with you. I came up here to actually fish for smallmouth on the White River. I read all about it and everything, and then I saw the lakes, and I was like, well, I'll throw my hat in there. And was kind of nervous. You could ask Brian Moore. I got to the ramp after that first win on bluegrass, and I was like, I don't think I won. Somebody's sandbagging. It is what it is. And he's like, no, I think you got it. I was like, no, I don't.
It's pretty wild. I mean, bluegrass is a special place. I try to get down there a couple of times a year. I actually signed up for the GRUBBY event this weekend just to make, have another excuse to go down there because, hey, why not?
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about it is, you can catch some fish, or you might get, you might have the right day and catch you a big one too.
Yeah. Yeah. I fished week 2, and I actually zeroed on that day. I think I was trying to do too much the first day. I was just trying to find fish, active fish. So.
Yeah, that place is pretty wild. So for your first trip down there, your first win, did you have a certain pattern that you were kind of looking for, or were you just, whatever I can find, I'm going with?
So I've tried to find, I found a lot of schools, but they weren't biting anything, and I wasn't trying to waste my time, and because I try to just keep moving. And so that day I finally threw a crankbait, and I caught them all over the lake. I caught them at the lower end, upper end, in the backs of coves. And you were talking about how when you first signed up for GRUBBY, you threw back a 10.
Yeah.
I had 4 fish, and I threw back like 2 10s back to back.
Yeah.
And I finally realized, crap, I need those. And I just had to keep on fishing and keep on just chucking wine. And I finally got another active fish and was able to get my 5-fish limit.
Yeah. It's pretty wild that early in the year, just trying to find anything that's, that's not just sitting at the bottom, looking up going, nah, not now. Yeah. I'll go eat later on after you go home.
The big giveaway for me was when I threw the crankbait within like the first 10 minutes, and that bass absolutely choked it. Like, swallowed the whole thing. And after that, I was like, yeah, I'm not putting it down.
Yeah, just keep going until you find somebody else who wants to play and get their picture taken, right?
Yep.
So was this your first time to bluegrass? Had you been out there before?
I went last year in the summer, and I didn't spend much time at all, like zero. I was just basically just driving around, looking at the grass and getting hung up, getting frustrated, and then that was it. I don't know why I decided to come back, but I did.
Yeah, glad you did. Now tell me about Brush Creek. How was that your first time there, or had you been there before?
That was my very first time at Brush Creek. I've never been there.
Yeah.
So and I didn't pre-fish or anything. And none of these I don't pre-fish. I just
Right.
basically just show up.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Give me a second. My little one's crying a little bit, but that's all
Oh,
right. But yeah, I saw all the wood, and I'm very confident with a jig, and so
yep.
I just started flipping the wood and got lucky. I pay attention to the wind and the sun, what
Yep.
banks are going to be hitting, and all that kind of stuff. And that I think that whole week it was cold. It was really
Yeah.
cold. And I tried to look up the first bank that was going to get sun on it, and that's where I went.
Yep. I hear you there. That's a real interesting lake. I mean, if I've ever seen a lake in Indiana that looks like a bass fishing training grounds, that's kind of it because you got a little bit of everything there, but it's not so huge that you can't cover a lot of it and try to figure something out. I say that knowing that I didn't catch a dink until 30 minutes to go, and then I thought I caught an almost 20 incher after lines out, of course. But that's just the way it is at some of these places some days.
Yeah, it always happens like that.
Yep.
Go, I can't. I didn't catch a limit or anything. I saw a lot of bass on beds that day, but
Yeah.
they weren't anything I wanted. But then I saw that you posted that you caught a 19, and that was awesome.
I was like, of course I catch big fish after lines out,
Yeah,
and
after
it doesn't
lines out.
matter, you know. But I'll take them any day. It's
Oh
one
yeah,
of those things. I do the tournaments for fun as a way to meet new people. Like we were all chatting in the parking lot, and I love being able to do that because then during off season or when we're not doing tournaments, even when we are, you still get to get out, hang out, meet a lot of cool new people, and chit chat, and it's always fun, especially guys getting kind of road trips a little bit and doing the different floats in different places. It makes it a lot of fun too. So
yeah. That's the one thing I really like about Grubby. It's not like I don't know anybody in Indiana really. So I
yeah.
know Marcus Grubbs. He's one of my teammates at Kayak some more.
Oh
But
yeah.
other than that, I don't know anybody. But it's not like I met a stranger. Like
Yeah.
I showed up to the ramp and everybody was saying, "Hey, hey, do you need some help?" I can't remember the guy's name. I think he just had surgery, but I can't.
Gary Dennis. Yep.
Yes, I was having motor trouble, and he came right over and tried to see if he wanted to help and everything. Luckily, I had everything, but I just
That's
think it's
good.
awesome that everybody was just trying to help, and they don't even know me. So
Yeah. I mean, and that's great. I mean, he was the same way. I met him on the water at Boggs, and he was the one that told me, "Hey, you need to take pictures of those." And I was like, "Oh, but they're not 12 inches." He says they all count here, and I was like, "Oh." But I mean, and I've found that across the board with everybody that I've met in Grubby. I mean, to help you out with anything that you need, no matter what, too. So I've noticed that a lot in the kayak community altogether, and it's just one thing that really draws me to it. Why I love promoting it so much.
yeah, it's probably one of my favorite trails now, and I'm glad y'all see my name hopefully from years to come now. So
Oh yeah, excellent, excellent. Yep. So, what's your next event you're fishing?
bluegrass actually.
Yep.
I'm going up there Friday. So
Okay, excellent.
and
I'll be
then
up there Saturday while everybody else is fishing all the other tournaments around the state.
yeah. But I'm really
Yeah.
excited. My biggest goal is like what you had. I want to. To me, I want to break my PB smallmouth, and my smallmouth is like 16 inches. So
Yeah, I was the same way. I caught it last year at the KBFNC. I was just throwing, didn't expect to, catch a smallie where I was fishing on Kentucky Lake, but it happened to be a 16 incher. And so that kind of hyped me up. And when I started reading about the White River and this and that, and I was like, the funny thing is I used to live up there, but that was back in my boater days. And so we didn't get, on that river up there that much. And now that we have all the kayak stuff going on, you start looking at the scores and the giant smallies that are being caught, you're like, I need to go get some of that. So yeah, that was my whole intention. I couldn't find a limit to save my life, but I was happy catching that one big one that made it all
oh
worthwhile too.
yeah, I caught some small ones, and I was pumped about it. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes it great too. So, oh man. Well, I'm not going to keep you long. I'm going to see if I can't find Mr. Justin Cavett, who is one of those White River Smalley, Smalley hammers, and see if we can't get him in here and tell us a little bit about what he had going on. So we'll get you back in here soon and enjoy it, and hope to see you out there on the water again.
all right, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. All right, Justin, if you are out there, go ahead and click that link, and let me check the book of faces to make sure I sent you the link because if I didn't, I'm a dummy. But we will keep this moving on. Yep, there's him with the link. So hopefully we can get Justin to pop in and join us and tell us a little bit about his time up there. Man, chasing largemouth on the White River. That almost just seems funny. But hey, I mean, if you find a place where they're at, you got to take them because they put some good ones in the boat for you too. So let me go back, look through the comments a little bit, say hey to everybody. I know I got a lot of my YouTube audience in and watching, and appreciate you guys following along and kind of seeing what we're doing up here in the tournament season. And Justin, give me a thumbs up when you are ready, and I will pull you in. All right, there he is. What's up, good sir?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me all
Man,
right?
just living the dream, talking about fishing. It's that time of year, and I keep saying that. And I got a pile of tackle behind me that needs to be sorted, and pretend like I know what I'm doing so I can go out and start fishing again. So, tell us about your season so far. I'm still playing catch up for kind of what everybody's doing. I've been all over the place and down in Gunnersville trying to help out a little bit with the KBF headquarters, but still tracking what you guys got going on too. But you went up to the White River and did what I didn't expect to see anybody do, and that was loaded up with largies. How did is that pretty common for like some spots that you fish, or was that something that you were targeting that day?
It's not. It's not at all. I mean, there's some places on the White River that you can count on largemouth being in those areas and stuff. Most people think of Broad Ripple about the first place they think of
Yeah.
because of the looks and stuff for largemouth. And there's definitely some big largemouth in there that can be caught in over 20 inches and stuff like that. But I'd actually pre-fished that the day before with the plan to go look for some spawning fish and stuff in the back of some pockets in there and some backwater areas. And it didn't work out. So I went back to what I know and comfortable with, and that's chasing smallies and fishing fast current. And ended up catching smallies, but put up 5 largemouth, which surprised me quite a bit. Yeah, surprised me quite a bit. I wasn't targeting largemouth. It's just how it turned out.
Just the way it happened to be. So for you have a lot of new grubby anglers. Me being one of them, coming in with the last few years. I mostly fished lakes and I hate calling them ponds, but smaller bodies of water, and don't really river fish much. Which is funny, living down here in Bedford, having a branch of the White River that comes from Columbus right through me, and that's where I grew up and kind of learned to fish in the sloughs and whatnot. But seems like that has been like forever ago. But smallies weren't really a big target for me and my brother. We were doing regular bass tournaments. For newer anglers who are trying to, you hear a lot of people when they see that there's such a good quality amount of smallmouth bass in the White and the Tippy rivers. What kind of tips would you kind of give to somebody who's new to chasing smallies? And I'm not looking for like giant spots and stuff like that, but just somebody who's trying to catch some smallmouth bass, just kind of fulfill a goal or kind of get started and learn about it. What's some kind of tips that you would give somebody to get started?
Yeah. The first tip I give, is, especially for river fishing, is to start keeping yourself a log because the river changes a lot. It changes from spring, late spring's different in the summer. They're doing different things all the way into the fall, back into chasing bait fish. And then winter, is a whole new thing with sitting in deep holes and piling up on top of each other and stuff like that. And really the best thing you can do as a new angler is start to keep yourself a log because once you get that, like 2 years of it, you can go back and repeat that. And the fish almost always do the same thing. And then you can build off of that. Other than that, I would say another big tip for somebody new to the river is slow down. You got current pushing through, through ripples and downstream, and you're trying to control a bunch of different things with that. But take the time, to get over to the side in an eddy or something like that. Even if you feel like you're sitting on top of fish, slow down, really look at the water, try to read the current a little bit, and pick apart the spots within the spots. That's kind of where I that. So, when people ask me specifically about the White River, like where's a good place to go, honestly, the White River is good everywhere.
Yeah.
You just it's a good idea when you're learning just to slow down and look at that eddy or that ripple or that fast current, and then figure out that little something different that's within that's going to get those fish to sit in there behind a rock or lay down or whatever it is, and try to focus on that a little bit more and just kind of learn to read that a little bit better.
Excellent. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what events do you have coming up next?
Next up is the Tippy for me, IKA.
Oh, that's right. The IKA event's kicked off that's on Saturday, isn't it?
Yep, that's this Saturday. So looking forward to that one. Again, it's moving water.
Yeah.
The water's down as compared to say like the White River a couple weekends ago, where water was up a little bit and staying. So I think it's going to be fishing a little bit different, probably. Maybe some spawners, something like that, to be looking for some smallmouth. But I think they're kind of going to be everywhere. Some's going to be in deeper water, some's going to be up shallow, some's thinking about spawning. So I think it's going to be a really good event for everyone. We're going to see a lot of fish get turned in, and somebody's going to get lucky and break that 20-inch. I'm positive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing, because I never realized until I started following like kayak tournaments where we can, because you see our fish, it's not like we just have a weigh in and throw them back in the water with all the pictures, and that leaves a lasting record. And when I look at different bodies of waters, I'm studying on Turning X or Fishing Chaos. It's like, okay, if I want to check out and I'm trying to find some new place to fish for, say, the state challenge series, I'll look at the tournament results in various areas and say, well, if you're trying to find big fish, go fish where big fish are. And it's really cool because we actually have like a historical record of watching bodies of water, either get better or get worse over time. Like bogs over the last several years, I would see like an average of, 17-inch fish for a while after they did the restock, and then 18-inch fish you start seeing trickling. And then last year we had some 19s popping in, so who knows what's growing on over there this year too. So I'll have to go find some of that out during the KBF mayhem going on. But it's cool that we have an actual record where you can kind of investigate a little bit and look at past results to say, man, there's some bigger fish in a lot of these different areas. And it's amazing to me that the white and the tippy just put out bigger smallmouth than I ever imagined were here, based on the little creek smallies that we catch around here too. So it's pretty wild, but it's amazing that there is such a quality of fish up there.
Yeah, like I was saying, keeping that log of what you're doing, especially for rivers and stuff. Turning X is a great place to keep a log. I mean, you go back and look, well, what did I do in May and in June, July, previous years on that body of water? Did I do well? Did I do bad? And well, what was I doing that time? Should I completely switch up, try something different, or try that again?
Yep.
I use Turning X like that all the time. After having
it's a handy tool that we have to be able to go do stuff like that.
Right.
All right, sweet. Well, I won't keep you long, good sir.
All right. It was good talking with you.
Yep, I appreciate you jumping in, and I'm going to try to do these about every other week so we don't have to, so we can actually take our time and cover a lot more, and have other folks come in and share their experiences and what they think about the different events too. And the GRBY tournament directors are always looking for good feedback from people. What are we doing good? What can be improved? But as far as I can tell from what I've seen and a lot of the feedback I hear from newer anglers like me, it's still a great format. It's a great place. It's a great training ground for those who either want to move up and do other things and, kind of go and grow from there too. And then having hammers like you guys to kind of watch and learn from, it makes it fun too, because we're competitive, but again, we're not so competitive that, a lot of the guys that have been fishing around Indiana for a long time, they'll stop and take the time to share information, help, and, kind of guide the newer anglers as we get started too. So that's one thing I really love about, our group here.
Yes, for sure.
All right, good sir. Look forward to getting on the water with you one of these days, and I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate your time.
See you guys out there. Now take it easy.
Yeah, all right. Take care. All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna have it's a little bit shorter one tonight. I know we did like a 6-week recap in just barely a few minutes. If you want more in-depth details, make sure you follow Sam Jones's page, the Hoosier Kayak Bassin. He does a weekly breakdown about, everybody's results, the big bass. He does a great job of logging all of the kayak events here in the state of Indiana. Make sure you go check it out. Again, as you guys are fishing around the state, post up them fish pics, share them up in the GRUBBY group. It's a great place on Facebook. If you have questions or you're new or you have friends that are new and have questions about kayaks, fishing in general, things like that, be sure to hit up the Facebook group. Share, there's a lot of people more than willing to share information with you. So, like I said, one of the great things about this community is pretty amazing. Again, let's talk a little bit about KBF. You got the May State Challenge Series getting ready to kick off. Make sure if you're trying to qualify for that national championship and State Challenge Series national championship, go hit that up. It's mayhem. This is where you can qualify. In the past, it's been the top half of the field in May qualifies for the national championship and the Challenge Series championship. Your best 4 months compile, and that will put you in the running for if you're trying to, be the state Challenge Series champion. We recently had Russ Snyder's on talking about a lot of, how a lot of that stuff works. It's always good to talk to guys like that who do these things on a national level too. But hey, there's plenty of folks that participate here in GRBY that are living on that level as well. And they're more than happy to help new anglers get along. If you got a friend out there interested in coming out to GRBY, encourage him to, join in. You don't have to have a ton of money in kayaks and gear to participate. Literally kayak, paddle, fishing pole, PDF, and a phone, and you can go do it in a catch board. But mayhem is coming. That's a good thing. I'm putting out a call for all my friends here in Indiana for the other side of KBF, which is called Fish Ops. This is your veteran advocacy and things like that. There's many of us that are in the hashtag Catch22 challenge. This year, we're raising funds for Heroes on the Water, and last year it was Mission 22. So if you want to be part of a good charity event, $22 donation, we've already given away, I say we, Chad Hoover's already given away one Jackson Coosa kayak, which is sitting out here on my trailer at the moment for Mr. John Gittner. So, oh, wait, we might have Josh back and available. Okay, so Josh says you can't join us tonight. No problem at all. Appreciate it. All right, so Josh can't join because he's at a wedding dinner, I think it was. But yeah, make sure you jump into the hashtag Catch22 challenge. Again, it's a fun, charity-driven event for veteran and homeland hero advocacy. And I know there's a ton of people in Indiana already participating. On the flip side of that, Team Gramps for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, 4 month-long challenges. The winner of each month wins a spot on the team that can go down and fish in the Hero Cup on Veterans Day down at Lake Wheeler, Gunnersville at KBF headquarters. $15 entry fee gets you participating and gives you a chance to get on a team that's going to split the pot between the 4 team members, not the YouTuber or influencer. Split that, that pot of $10,000. If you don't take the first spot and you catch 5 fish in any one of the events, you can qualify to go down for the Friday Fan Fish Off that's being sponsored by Fishing Chaos. Then the top 5 of that make their own team and they compete against everybody else. Some of the influencers out there, me, Fishing with Gramps, Fluke Master, Chad Hoover, Larry Melton Jr., John Cruz is joining in the mix. Larry Melton Jr., Wendell's Fishing, Alex Rudd, who am I missing? The guys from the Aggressively Average Anglers. And there's also word that, and Guida, I almost said the KBF fighter, the fighter, and who else? There's also a possibility that Michael Iaconelli might be jumping in and grabbing a team as well. So again, the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series right there on on KBF. Since you're fishing the state challenges and all the tournaments anyway, feel free to hop in. It's for a great cause. My team is going to be donating money to the Indiana Fallen Outdoors chapter. And again, lots of I can't forget Creek Fishing Adventures as well. So again, wanted to do a call out for that because, hey, we need a whole team of Indiana hammers or from wherever you're at to go down and whip Chad's butt. Because, hey, why not? He's talking all that smack. Love to go down and put the smack down on him on his home lake. With all that being said, everybody get out this weekend, do some fishing, stay safe, whatever event you're fishing in, wear your PFD, take good pictures. I'll see you guys next. We're going to do these. I'm going to try to do these every 2 weeks. So we'll do that. That way I got a 2-week recap instead of 6 weeks. Sorry for taking so long. It has been a crazy, crazy stream. That's it tonight for the Grass Roots Bass Yakin, the GRUBBY Talk. We'll see y'all next time.